Okay, sorry, muted there. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the Flight Sim world. This is Viper Strike 95 Flight Sim, and I hope you're all doing well. Happy Friday to all you guys. I hope you guys are going to have a good weekend. And today we're back with our 50 states and 50 streams. Today we'll be doing our second state to enter the Union, Pennsylvania, aka the Keystone State. I hope you're all doing well here today. And we got a pretty exciting flight plan today. We'll be flying through much of the historic areas here in this historic state of Pennsylvania. So I hope you're all doing well here today. I hope you guys enjoy your Friday. Yes, we're about to hit the weekend very shortly. Currently, right now at home, there's going to be a snowstorm apparently. There's going to be about a Friday winter storm going to happen, another 3 to 6 inches. So let's hope there isn't anything bad with the weather. So prayers crossed if the weather holds up. So before we get started, I do want to say hello to the chat. We have my super Typhon moderator. Good to see you, my dude. Yes, California's in flames right now in the Palisades, but we won't be visiting California for a long while. That will be in many, many weeks. So let's go over our flight plan for this today. So let's go over our flight plan here in Pennsylvania. So our flight plan will take us, we'll start at Beaver County Airport. We'll follow the Ohio River from Beaver County Airport over to the city of Pittsburgh. The Steel City, known for his industrial legacy of the U.S. steel industry and its many bridges, over 400 of them, in fact. We'll fly around downtown. We'll check out the sporting vicinities for the Steelers and Pirates. Point State Park, and even the University of Pittsburgh. We'll fly over around Pitt. Then from there, we'll head east to our first stop here at State College, Pennsylvania, home of the Penn State Nittany Lions football program. We'll land here at University Park Airport, Kilo Uniform November Victor. Then from there, who, by the way, just lost to Notre Dame last night. Then from there, we'll head from University Park. We'll head down southeast. We'll visit the capital city of Pennsylvania at Harrisburg. We'll fly around the Harrisburg area. And we'll be flying around the three-mile park. Then from there, we'll go ahead and make our way east, and we'll make our way over to the historic city of Reading, Pennsylvania, known for its famous pagoda. We'll pay a visit to Reading. We might get a chance to fly to the pagoda. Then we'll make our stop here at Reading Regional Airport, Kilo Romeo Delta Golf. Finally, for our last stop, we'll head northeast and we'll make our way over to the industrial powerhouse city of Allentown in the Lehigh Valley. Before making our way south to the Valley Forge National Historic Park, where George Washington set up his headquarters during the American Revolution. And finally, Philadelphia. We'll be checking out the city of brotherly love. We'll check out the sport complex. Then we'll make our way up to the Liberty Bell at Independence Hall National Historic Park, where you can find the Liberty Bell, Independence Hall, and the Constitution Center. Then we got another waypoint to the Philadelphia Museum of Art, where Rocky did his famous scenes of the movie Rocky. Before making our way to our final stop at Northeast Philadelphia Airport. So guys, that is today's flight plan for all you guys here. So this is today's flight plan so we're going to take the Diamond DA62 today on this stream. I feel like the Diamond DA62 would be a good plane for this. It'll go 100 to 165 knots here. So I think range and speed isn't going to be an issue with the DA62. I think that's what we're going to take here today. So let's get this started. I think with the DA62 is a pretty easy going. and we'll go ahead and quickly load. I'm going to load in the flight performance. And we're going to upgrade from 50% to around 75. So that way we can get enough fuel for today. So we're going to be flying on a Beaver County Airport. BVI is going to be where we're flying out here today. So Beaver County is mainly a general aviation airport located in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Covers around 297 acres of land with one runway, 4,500 feet. However, this airport is most well known for being where in 1987 the B-17 Flying Fortress 909 crashed during an air show at the airport. The plane was attempting to land but ran off the end of the runway and was badly damaged. Thankfully, they repaired it, and for many more years afterwards. However, the plane officially crashed in 2019 in Bradley, which the aircraft was destroyed by fire. It's also owned to its own flying club that operates Cessna 172s and SR-20s, and its own flight school too. And finally, there's an heritage museum located in the airport too, including an F-15 and C-123 provider. So that is our airport for today. That's the airport we'll be starting from today. So yeah, this was supposed to be Sunday stream, by the way, but as you all know, due to the fact we had to cancel the Sunday stream due to the winter storm, I was doing it as a precaution because I didn't know if that storm was going to be. So I thought it would be better safe than sorry than I did last time. But now we don't have to worry about it nearly as much. Now we get started on our stream. So go. Here we go, guys. EA62. So we're going to be flying to Pittsburgh is going to be our next stop. Is the city of Pittsburgh will be where we're going to head off first. So our first destination, our first waypoint is going to be the city of Pittsburgh, which will be coming up in 25 nautical miles. We'll get up in the air and so we'll do some flying around the city or making our way over to State College. So we'll do some flying over Pittsburgh for a bit, get to explore the Steel City. So Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you guys want to know about Pittsburgh? Well, here you go, guys. So Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's second largest city after Philadelphia, and it's located in the confluence of the Allegheny and Monongahela rivers, which will form the Ohio, one of the tributaries of the Mississippi. Its metropolitan area is at a massive 2.45 million people, despite the urban area being around 302,000. Making it, it's known as the Steel City, and that is because Pittsburgh was a dominant city during the U.S. steel industry. because of its location between the Atlantic coast and the Midwest. And it was also due to the fact that mineral-rich Allegheny Mountains were very strategically important for so many. In fact, at one point during the 20th century, it was only behind New York and Chicago in corporate headquarters, and had the most U.S. stockholders per capita. However, deindustrialization during the late 20th century resulted in layoffs among the blue-collar workers, and as steel and other industries declined. However, in the 90s, Pittsburgh has focused on energies on healthcare, education, and technology industry. Pittsburgh's home to a lot of medical providers, including University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. It's also served as a headquarters for federal agencies for cyber defense, robotics, engineering research, software engineering, and more. It's home to 10 Fortune 500 companies and 7 of the 300 largest U.S. law firms. And of course, City of Bridges is one of its other nicknames due to the fact that there's about 446 bridges in this area. Yes, 446 bridges, because being the confluence of 2 different rivers is going to constitute a lot of bridges. No, seriously. Bridges are that important for the city of Pittsburgh. A big deal. It's also got a lot of great cultural institutions, such as the Carnegie Museums of Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh Zoo, the Fitz Conservatory, the National Aviary, and a diverse cultural district. And it's also a great sports city, too. It's a fantastic sports city, thanks to having multiple championship-winning franchises, include most notably the Pittsburgh Pirates of Major League Baseball, the Pittsburgh Penguins of the NHL, and the city's most popular sports team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, all the teams have one thing in common. They all share the city colors of the black and gold. So, pretty important stuff. They also got University of Pittsburgh is also very successful for college football. College sports are a pretty big deal here too, thanks to the University of Pittsburgh having a long tradition of college football excellence. So yeah, Pittsburgh's a fantastic sports city. It's also got a rich culture scene too, thanks to many different ethnic groups that have lived here in this area. Including immigrants from China, Korea, Italy. Historically, many Poles have settled here. Polish, Italian, Irish, and German settlements. And they brought a lot of their food and culture here, including their food with pierogies, kielbasa, chip chop ham, and carne bars are some of the food's specialties here in Pittsburgh. And of course, one of the most famous institutions for Pittsburgh food has been the Primanti brothers. Stuff fries and stuff into their sandwiches. Grilled meat, melted cheese, oil vinegar, slaw, and french fries. They also brought their own literature history with Gertrude Stein and Rachel Carson. So yeah, Pittsburgh, rich traditions, rich culture, rich history. Pittsburgh is definitely worth checking. Still going a little fast, 177 knots. I'm trying to keep around 160. Too quick. Beautiful area here today, here in this side of Pennsylvania. So guys, I hope you're all doing well. I know today Merck's gonna be back on today on my channel. He'll be back to FSR 500 in Venezuela, which should be a really good flight. So here it is, guys, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So we're about to reach Steel City pretty soon. So yeah, Pittsburgh, by the way, if you look to our east-west, you can see Pittsburgh International Airport in the distance. Is Pittsburgh International. For our virtual airline, that is actually our VA hub in the eastern United States. Is here in Pittsburgh, by the way, for Fireflyers East US hub. But yeah, Pittsburgh looks absolutely gorgeous today. It's a pretty city, actually. Yeah, it's a little slow, but that's actually fine for this. You don't need a super fast plane for this flight. You want to chill and explore the scenery here in Pennsylvania. Once we fly to Pittsburgh, we'll talk more about the state itself while we. You can see the remnants of Pittsburgh's rich industrial legacy, too. Here's Pittsburgh, everyone. Yeah, here is Pittsburgh, everyone. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's the second state of our 50 states in 50 streams journey here. So this is Acrisure Stadium, home of the Steelers. PNC Park, home of the. Here's downtown Pittsburgh. Here's downtown Pittsburgh. Looks really cool. Let's go ahead and do the. Let's just do some flying around Pittsburgh, shall we? So, this is downtown Pittsburgh. You see, all this is densely packed into this little area. There's PPG Arena. That's home of the Penguins. Penguins play hockey at PPG Bank Arena here in the city. That's. Look at that view. That's crazy. Look at the view. That's just gorgeous view, guys. Pittsburgh's a pretty city. One of the other things you can do here in Pittsburgh, from my research, is one of the most popular things to do here in Pittsburgh is you can actually take one of the lifts. You take one of the lifts here. There's actually overlooks all across the northern part right here. You can overlook the city. And one of the most popular ways to do all this is you actually take one of the lift services that you take one of the inclines that was used as a cable car. You can actually climb up and you get some amazing views. Yeah, really pretty area here. Really pretty city. Like, Pittsburgh's gorgeous. Here's the University of Pittsburgh ahead of us. One of the more unique things about the campus is, of course, one of the most historic buildings in the campus is the Cathedral of Learning, which is 42 stories tall. It's the tallest educational building in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, it's massive. And we can take the picture of Pittsburgh's campus. So this is University of Pittsburgh campus here. There's the Cathedral of Learning and all that. There's the arena for Pitt basketball. That was actually built near the grounds of the old football stadium that used to be part of the University of Pittsburgh for many years. And we're going to climb up to around 4,000 feet. So we're going to climb up to 4,000 feet, and we're going to make our way over to State College, Pennsylvania. So we say so long for the city of Pittsburgh, and we're now going to make our way to State College. This waypoint would take us about 100 nautical miles to get there, so we'll be getting there pretty soon. So what do you guys think about the flyover of Pittsburgh, everyone? Definitely a pretty city here in Pennsylvania. Definitely a very pretty one. So, by the way, guys, later this week, our next stream, which will be Sunday, we will be flying over New Jersey, which would be really cool to fly over to. Now, this one's only going to be 2 legs. This is going to be a little shorter than some of the other ones. I'm planning on taking either the Icon A5 with us, or I may take the Savage Cub or Savage Norden with us on that trip, since it is going to be a little shorter. So, guys, I hope you got some really cool plans this weekend. For me, at least, since I got all the notes done, I guess I don't really have to worry about the notes. So I guess I just do some other stuff at home, maybe. So now let's go ahead and talk about this state of Pennsylvania, shall we? Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, really cool state, a state with some very rich history. Pennsylvania got its name from Penn's Forest Country. That's what it was named for. It was officially known as the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. This U.S. state spans the Mid-Atlantic, Northeastern, Appalachian, and Great Lake regions of the United States. It's bordered by Delaware to the southeast, Maryland to the south, West Virginia to the southwest, Ohio West River to the west, and New York to the north, and New Jersey to the east as well, plus Ontario as well, via Lake Erie. This state was founded in 1681 through the royal land grant to William Penn, the son of the state's namesake. Before that, it was originally the southeast part was part of New Sweden. It was established as a haven for religious and political tolerance. The colonial-era province of Pennsylvania was known for its relatively peaceful relations with the native tribes, innovative government system at the time, and religious pluralism. Pennsylvania played a vital role in U.S. history for the American Revolution and its independence, thanks to the Second Continental Congress, and of course the Constitution. It's also got a rich history with the Battle of Gettysburg and more, making Pennsylvania one of the richest states with a lot of history. Also, in addition to, it also has a lot of industry with manufacturing, built many of the stuff used throughout the U.S. military during World War I, World War II, and the Cold War. It's the fifth most populous state in the country with over 13 million residents. But it's also the 33rd largest by land area and the 9th highest population density. So overall, Pennsylvania, really cool state, a lot of history, a lot of culture. So Pennsylvania is definitely a state well worth checking out here. So to give us a bit of a more background, we need to discuss the history of Pennsylvania and what makes it such a special state. Well, first, let's talk about the indigenous history of Pennsylvania. Get a bit of a background. Pennsylvania's history of human habitation extends 1,000 years before the province of Pennsylvania was founded in 1601. Archaeologists believe the first settlement of the Americas occurred 15,000 years ago. Meadowcroft Rock Shelter in Jefferson Township includes the earliest known signs of human activity in Pennsylvania and probably all of North America, dating back to over 10,000 years ago. By 1000 CE, in contrast to the nomadic hunter-gatherers, the native population of Pennsylvania was actually quite cultural with mixed food economy. By the time the Europeans colonized the Americas, during all that time, there were at least two major Native American tribes inhabiting the state. First was the Lenape people, spoke an Algonquian language, and inhabited the eastern half of the state, then known as the Lenape-Hokan. In the western region, the other group of people that went there is the Susquehanna, which is an Iroquois language and based in western Pennsylvania, from New York State to West Virginia. However, European disease and constant warfare weakened the two tribes, and they were outplaced financially by the Hurons and Iroquois. During the Beaver War. And as a result, many of the tribes kind of fragmented, leading to what it is today. So that is that part. Now, in the 17th century, at least now for the European part of the timeline, for the European settlement, in the 17th century, the Dutch and English each both claimed both sides of the Delaware River as part of their colonial lands in America. The Dutch were first to take it over in 1631 by the Delaware Peninsula, which we visited last Friday. We visited Delaware and we talked about how the Dutch were actually the ones who settled this part of the state. However, the Swedes ended up building their new colony in Wilmington. But, however, it wasn't until 1664 that the English took control of those lands and claimed much of Pennsylvania. However, the major part of it that really grew was in 1664. Um, but the big part of it was, however, in 1681, however. That's because Charles II granted a land charter to the leader of the Quakers at the time, William Penn, to repay a debt of 16,000 British pounds, which by 2008 numbers was around 2.1 million pounds owed to William Penn's dad. It's one of the largest land grants to an individual in history. Originally, the land was to be called New Wales. However, he recommended Sylvania, and then the king named it Pennsylvania. Got to stay its name today. From there, Penn established a government with two main innovations that were replicated in many of the colonies: a county commission, which elected officials collectively charged with administrating the county government, and most importantly, what built a lot of the First Amendment, the freedom of religion. These two big parts is what were followed in many of the 30 colonies, even to the present. Between 1730, when the Pennsylvania colony was shut down by Parliament with the Currency Act, the Pennsylvania colony actually made its own paper money to account for the shortage of actual gold, called the colonial scrip. And the colony issued bills of credits which were good as gold and silver coins due to the legal tender status. Also during the time, 10 years later, in 1740, Benjamin Franklin actually was a part of it. And he founded the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia and is one of the 9 colonial college, and probably one of the first in the nation to be established. And right now, you all know University of Penn is one of the world's best universities, too. However, the major part for Pennsylvania that was ended up doing it was in 1765 when the British passed the Stamp Act. A lot of these acts were to pay for the French and Indian War. Delegate John Dickinson of Philadelphia wrote the Declaration of Rights and Grievances, and this Congress was the first meeting of the 13 colonies, which led to the official Congress of all of them. That led to all. And of course, that led to the modern day Stamp Act. But of course, all this came around in 1774 when the founding fathers of the United States, which were a group of late 18th century American revolutionary leaders, convened, and the 12 colonies sent representatives to the First Continental Congress. And what they did during the First Continental Congress was to organize a blockade of the intolerable acts. This eventually led to a declaration of resolves that included the Congo Congress Association. And just 2 years later, in 1775, the Second Continental Congress authored and signed the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia, which allowed the United States to set the 13 colonies to separate from Britain. Of course, you all know about that. Of course, Pennsylvania also played a role in the U.S. Constitution as well, when it was written in 1787 to replace, well, the ineffective Articles of Confederation. And the reason why they built the Articles of Confederation was because the Articles of Confederation was just not very effective. It was way too weak because it rendered the central government became too weak. You had to find the right balance between the state's government and the central government. The Articles of Confederation had the state governments were too strong. So that's why they built a new constitution to replace it. So in 1787, Pennsylvania became the second state to ratify the U.S. Constitution after Delaware. During the 19th century, one of the more important changes um, was James Buchanan, who became the 15th president of the United States and the first U.S. president born in Pennsylvania during this time. And what he mainly did during his presidency, however, he was actually pretty infamous for being the last president before the U.S. Civil War. He advocated for states' rights and minimized the role of federal government preceding the Civil War. However, he was widely criticized for his lack of leadership. And he's among the worst presidents in American history, too. During the Civil War, one of the most important events of the U.S. Civil War occurred in Pennsylvania. Yes, the Battle of Gettysburg happened, which was a major turning point of the U.S. Civil War took place. And Gettysburg was the deadliest battle in the entire U.S. Civil War. It was between 93,000 and 104,000 Union soldiers taking on about 75,000 Confederate soldiers, and it was by far the bloodiest battle in the entire Civil War. Total over 50,000 casualties on both sides, and it ended up completely changing the war as Pickett's charge happened. When the Union held up Pickett's charge, and and it still is to this day. It's still the most deadly battle in U.S. history. Still is, even after all these years after this, including World War I and World War II. In fact, an estimated 350,000 Pennsylvanians served in the Union Army, including 8,000 of those being African Americans, which played a role in their liberation. For decades, Pennsylvania was dominated by the Republican-aligned Cameron machine, established by Simon Cameron, and it lasted for 7 decades. In the post-Civil War era was known as the Gilded Age. Pennsylvania was, of course, one of the centers of the entire Gilded Age, especially with the steel industry in Pittsburgh, led by Andrew Carnegie, and Bethlehem Steel and Bethlehem by Charles and Schwab. You also have other titans of industry that operated in the state, including John E. Rockefeller and Jay Gould. There was even a bit of an oil industry was born in the U.S. oil industry was also born in Pennsylvania, especially in the West, which supplied a lot of kerosene for many years afterwards, and even coal as well. Also during the Gilded Age was Milton S. Hershey, and he began construction of a chocolate factory in Hershey, which grew to become the largest chocolate manufacturer in North America, and the Heinz Company too. The point was, Pennsylvania was a major center of U.S. industry. Been that way for many, many decades. Of course, in addition to the rise of businesses, there's also strikes. Pennsylvania was the location for some of the first organized strikes in North America, and there were 2 particular ones that happened: the Great Railroad Strike of 1887 and the Coal Strike of 1902. As a result, causing all of that to happen. During the 20th century, at the beginning of the 20th century, Pennsylvania's economy was mainly on steel production, logging, coal mining, and textiles, as well as other industrial manufacturing. The surge of immigration during the late 19th, early 20th century provided a steady flow of cheap labor. As a result, thousands of Pennsylvanians were also involved during the Spanish-American War, and once again, Pennsylvania was an important industrial center in World War I. One really cool fact about Pittsburgh, and a pretty fun fact, was that in 1918, the Pittsburgh Agreement was signed, which signified the independent state of Czechoslovakia, which later became split into Czechia and Slovakia. In 1923, Calvin Coolidge established the Allegheny National Forest, and it became the state's only national forest. Pennsylvania was also a huge part of the U.S. arm manufacturing during World War II, as it manufactured 6% of total U.S. military armaments. ranking 6th among all U.S. of all 48 states that participated in the war. And it was a major part of the Second World War, as the Philadelphia shipyard was an important naval base, and Pennsylvania produced many important military leaders, including George C. Marshall, who was a major Army officer and Chief of Staff, Hap Arnold, who became General of the Army and Air Force, and was a major aviation pioneer, Jacob Devers, who commanded the 6th Army Group in Europe in the European theater, and Carl Spaatz, or known as Tui, his nickname is Tui, and he was a Strategic Air Forces commander in Europe. In fact, over 1 million Pennsylvanians served in the armed forces, and more Medal Arms were awarded Pennsylvanians than any other state that was involved in World War II. Of course, one other infamous incident happened, and it's the most significant nuclear accident in U.S. history, the 3 Mile Island accident, which was caused by a partial nuclear meltdown, and as a result, that combined with the hard-hitting decline of industries led to a lot of people leaving a lot of Pennsylvania. Though, that being said, they diversified their economy, and Pennsylvania is still going pretty strong. And most notably, during September 11, 2001, small town Shanksville, Pennsylvania received worldwide attention after United Airlines Flight 93 crashed into a field in the township. All right, Viper. Hey, good to see you, Rubber Duck. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. All right, Viper. Good to see you, Rubber Duck. I hope you're doing well. And that covers the history of Pennsylvania, the Keystone State. I'm perfectly good. Yeah, I was just covering the history of Pennsylvania, very important state. So I hope you're doing well, Rubber Duck. I hope you're gonna have a good weekend. I'm doing all right. Just flying my way over to State College, Pennsylvania. So appreciate you joining along. So earlier today we took off from Beaver County Airport in here in just outside Pittsburgh. We flew into the Steel City, and we explored around downtown Pittsburgh. We got to explore the city a bit. Absolutely pretty city here. Now we're making our way to State College for our first. Yeah, there's snow here on the ground. But I hope you're doing all right. So we're about to make our way over State College. Yeah, really cool flying over in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'm doing all right. So we're not that far off of State College. Let's see here. We're just about 30 nautical miles from State College Airport. So we're about 30 miles from our first stop here at State College Airport. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this flight. It's definitely been very, very nice here too. There's a lot of really cool information about Pennsylvania. It's in my Discord if you guys want to check it out. Hey, Big Boss, good to see you, my dude. Welcome on in, Big Boss Robinson. Here's a shout out for your channel. He does a lot of flight sim stuff with MDA, but he also does a lot of other games on his channel too. Definitely a great guy to check out and watch. We're doing our 50 states and 50 streams today, Big Boss. We're flying in Pennsylvania today. We're gonna head to State College, Pennsylvania for our first leg. We're gonna eventually make our way over from Beaver County over to Philadelphia today. So we're checking out some of the Keystone State's most well-known locations. So there's definitely a lot of great stuff here in Pennsylvania. Really cool states, lots of history here. If I want to recommend some places to visit here in the States, if you want to check out cities with rich histories, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia are probably your two best bets for cities with a lot of history. Between Pittsburgh and its museums and bridges and stuff, and Philadelphia with so many landmarks in the city, most notably Independence Hall. So a lot of great places to visit. There's also Lancaster, which is one of the major cities for the Amish community. And of course, you can't forget about Gettysburg. Gettysburg is definitely not something to forget. So definitely a lot of really cool stuff. Oh, the plane. The plane we're flying to is the Diamond DA62, and I forgot to update my stream elements. Whoops. It's the Diamond DA62. Not the fastest twin. It's kind of slow, but this is perfectly fine for today. You don't need to take anything super fast or super. That's what we're doing. It's in default. It's from the default sim, and I really do enjoy flying the DA62. It's nice. Nice plane. It has quite a long range. It has good range, speed, and it can climb quite high too. Nice plane. I definitely enjoy flying the DA62. So we're gonna arrive into State College today. We're gonna go State College, Pennsylvania, which is our next stop. This borough and home municipality is located in Center County, Pennsylvania, but of course, it's a college town. And it's because it's home to the Pennsylvania State University, founded in 1885. And it's the largest designated borough in the state of Pennsylvania. The population, the home rule is 40,000 people, but its metropolitan area can goes up to 158,000 people. And of course, you know, college is a big part of it. Thanks to its Central Pennsylvania Festival of Arts. But of course, the big part about it is Penn State, most notably Penn State Nittany Lions football, which could draw up to over 100,000 fans on home games. Yes, that's more than State College's population, by the way. They play at Beaver Stadium. They also have their own minor league baseball team here as well, but it's all Penn State. Definitely pretty cool stuff. And we're going to land in University Park Airport, or State College Regional, located in Benner Township, Pennsylvania. It covers 1,000 acres. It's owned by the Penn State University, by Penn State, and it currently serves United Express and American Eagle Regional Airlines, connecting to hubs in the Northeast and West. And the airport mainly operates those of the CRJ family, Embraer ERJs, and E175s operate out of the airport. So that is going to be, and that's going to be State College. So we'll be going up here soon, and we'll make our way over to our first stop. We'll rest here for a bit and prepare for the second leg to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania landscape. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool stuff. So we're going to go ahead and make our way down to here we go. We're going to descend down to 2,500 feet. And we're going to make our way to our first stop. Speaking about sports and thinking about, I don't know if it's bad timing or anything, but Last night, Penn State lost to Notre Dame by 3 points. Drew Allar choked that game. But yeah, James Franklin still can't win a major game, unfortunately. And yeah, Notre Dame's in the national championship game for the first time since 2013. So I'm hoping Notre Dame wins the championship because I would like to see the national championship go back to the state of Indiana. It's been too long. Here it is, State College, Pennsylvania. Go ahead. There's the football stadium ahead of us. Is what was the football stadium. Over 100,000 people can 10 seats here at Beaver Stadium. Here we go, guys. Here we go, guys. Welcome, State College. And we did it. Our first stop, State College. And we did it, guys. Our first lane of the day is negative 281 feet. Not the greatest. We'll stop right here for just a little bit. Take a bit of a break. So if anyone else wants to join in later. Stop here in this part of Pennsylvania, get some rest, prepare for the next leg of the flight. So we'll prepare for the next leg very shortly. We'll go ahead and prepare for the second leg. We're going to make our way over to Harrisburg. So we'll take a bit of a break here. And let's make our way to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Our cruise altitude for this leg will be 3,500 feet. We're going to make our way over to the state capital of Harrisburg. I'm up to 500. In addition to this, I also have my YouTube channel here if you guys want to check out any VODs from my stream of my past. And yes, I've updated to now include 50 states, 50 streams, so we'll be getting this VOD uploaded tomorrow. You guys will check out the 50 states, 50 project. We say goodbye to State College, and we'll make our way up to Harrisburg. We're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about Pennsylvania for a bit. So let's go to the next part about Pennsylvania to talk about. It's geography. And it's quite a diverse one, in fact. It's because Pennsylvania is actually a pretty geodiverse state for the eastern half of the United States. You have everything from sea level marine estuaries to mountainous plateau, and it's got a rich natural resource. Now, if you want to know why Pennsylvania got the Keystone nickname, the Keystone State, it's due to the fact that this state is a geographic bridge between the northeast United States and the southern United States, between the Atlantic seaboard and the Midwest. And basically, it's a keystone. It is connecting multiple regions of the United States. A lot of its region here is mainly it is an S curve, and that is and it's the mountains bisect from the S curve from the barrier ridges of the Appalachian Mountains, southwest to northeast, which a lot of the pre-20th century travel most often near the old Amerindian trails. This is where a lot of travel through Pennsylvania during, or by water gap. And despite having rough geography as well, the valley bottoms through the entire central part of the state. You also have the Allegheny Plateau, dissected by valleys of small streams and springs with elevation differences. And it's got a lot of fossils, mineral deposits, natural gas, coal, and petroleum. They help foster a lot of industries locally and even to the days of the 1930s. In fact, a lot of it got a lot of resources. It also has 57 miles of shoreline on the Delaware River, including the Port of Philadelphia, one of the largest seaports in the country. So overall, though, very diverse state. You have forest, you have mountains, of course. which we are flying through some of these right now. We are flying through a few of them right as we speak. Look to our right. Let me put the slide here. If you look to our, see all the mountain ranges and stuff, that is our valleys and ridges. That's all throughout much of central Pennsylvania. Throughout all that region. Hills and valleys. Due to all these diverse geography and the diverse landscape, it's even reflected in its climate, which is determined more by latitude or distance from the oceans rather than. And the entire state experiences cold winters and hot summers, and there's two major snows. The majority of the state, except for the southeast, has a humid continental climate, while the southern portion of the state is humid subtropical climate as well. Summers are generally high and humid. Moving towards the mountain's interior, it becomes colder. The number of mountain cloud days increases, and even greater snowfall. Western area of the state, particularly those near Lake Erie, like the city of Erie, get up to over 100 inches of snowfall annually. And even then, the rest of the state receives plentiful precipitation throughout the entire year, both rain and snow. Pretty important. In terms of temperature extremes, the record lowest temperature here in Pennsylvania is located in Smethport in 1904, when it was at negative 42 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 41 degrees Celsius for those outside the United States. Whereas in 1936, in Phoenixville, the record high is 111 degrees Fahrenheit, or 44 degrees Celsius. Oh yeah, in terms of record snow, the greatest 24-hour snowfall was recorded in 1958, 38 inches of snow. 38. For us at home, we got like 10, 12 inches. They got like nearly 4 times the amount of snow. Insane. Pretty insane to think. Pretty crazy stuff to talk about, especially with the geography of Pennsylvania. we're going to make our way over to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Now, Harrisburg is the state capital of Pennsylvania, and is the capital of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Harrisburg is very well known. It's been the capital city since 1800s. It played a big role in American history during the westward migration, Civil War, and Industrial Revolution. During the 19th century, it was the building of the Pennsylvania Canal and Railroad allowed Harrisburg to develop into one of the most industrial cities in the Northeast United States. And it also fluctuated with industries of government, manufacture, agriculture, and food services during the 20th century, which allowed its population to decline by half. But the big part about Harrisburg, of course, is it's home to the largest indoor exposition in the U.S., Pennsylvania Farm Show. And it's been held here since 1917, as well as the Great American Outdoor Show as well. And of course, Harrisburg also experienced a 3 Mile Island accident in 1979. But yeah, this city became a capital in 1812. It became the capital of Pennsylvania in 1812. Pretty cool stuff. There's some really big points of interest here in the city, include the 400 Mansion State Park, Mansion and Park, the John Harris Simon Cameron Museum, National Historical Landmark, the National Civil War Museum, which is affiliated with the Smithsonian Institution, D.C., and the Pride of the Susquehanna paddle riverboat, offering daily sightseeing tours and theme cruises. Some pretty cool stuff here in Harrisburg. In the Civil War, Harrisburg was a major training center for the Union Army, with tens of thousands of troops passing through Camp Curtin. It was also a rail center to link the Atlantic coast to the Midwest. And as a result, it was a target of Confederate General Robert E. Lee during 2 different invasions. We'll be checking out Harrisburg pretty shortly. But yeah, cool city, and definitely we'll be flying over the valley. We'll make our way to the capital shortly. I'm going to descend down to 2,500 feet. We're going to descend down to 2,500 feet. We're going to descend there, and we're going to fly around the state capital of Pennsylvania. That's where we're going to do. About to reach Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania. Let's take a look outside. Yeah, look at the scenery here. This is cool. Yeah, we'll be going through the Susquehanna River, actually. And the Susquehanna actually flows all the way down to... And it goes all the way through Chesapeake Bay. And it flows into the Chesapeake Bay. That's what the Susquehanna is for. Hey, Red Baron Flights, good to see you. We're doing our 50 States, 50 Streams series today. We're doing Pennsylvania. The weather, it's currently snowing right now, as you can tell, Red Baron. From my home, we're getting 3 to 6 inches of snow. Not good. Thankfully, it's not as much as it was previously, but again, we're going to have another winter storm warning in Indiana. Yeah, it's still snowing. Not good. Yeah, if you look through your gut windows, guys, you can definitely see the Susquehanna River Valley through Harrisburg. This is actually really pretty. It's a pretty area to do some general aviation flying in, that's for sure. But yeah, we're about to reach Harrisburg very shortly, the capital of Pennsylvania. Once we fly over the capital for a little bit, we'll make our way through Hershey, which is where they do the Hershey chocolate. Okay, here's Harrisburg. I'm going to descend a little bit, descend. Well, you build a whole city for a chocolate factory. I know. That's absolutely true. Here's a shout out for Red Baron Flies. He does a lot of GA stuff on his channel. He's also from around my local area, so it's going to be cool to support a more local streamer from my area. So, yeah, Hershey, really cool city. I didn't put any notes for Hershey, but Hershey, however, we'll talk about when we get to Hershey. Here is Harrisburg. Now, if you look at the distance, you can see a couple PowerPoint stuff. I believe that's 3 Mile Island, where the nuclear accident. Here's Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. There is the Pennsylvania state capitol. Here's Harrisburg. Here's the state capitol. Here's the Pennsylvania Capitol building. Here. A goodbye to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We're going to say one last goodbye. Yes, we're going to be flying over Hershey for a bit. Hershey, Pennsylvania. Well, this wasn't in our notes originally. I do want to talk a little bit about Hershey because this is a really cool city. You see, Hershey, for the longest time, the area around Hershey was home to a lot of Scottish and Irish immigrants. Mainly the Pennsylvania Dutch have also became part of their home here too. However, what really built Hershey, however, was during the 1900, when using the proceeds from the 1900 sale of the Lancaster Caramel Company, Milton S. Hershey acquired farmland 30 miles northwest of Lancaster, near his birthplace. And the factory was the center of a dairy farmland near their church. He built an entire city of houses, business, church, and transportation infrastructure, which became the company town of Hershey, Pennsylvania, and founded in 1903, mainly for the company's workers. And their homes had nice amenities for the time, like electricity, indoor plumbing, and central heating. Also, its own trolley system, vocational school, and later an amusement park, Hershey Park. Golf courses, community center, hotel, zoo, and sports arena. And it helped grew even more for tourism during the Great Depressions. He built many more products, like a country club, a hotel, theater, arena, and stadium. And it still continued to grow more and more each year. And there are some notable people around the Hershey, Pennsylvania. Of course, Milton S. Hershey is the one who founded the whole place, but there's a few other ones. Michelle Buck, the CEO of Hershey Company. You have Gary Gillum, former Penn State University 49ers offensive lineman. The Ocean Blue alternative rock band formed in Hershey. Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Tyrone Lee. And H.B. Reese, who actually invented the Hershey, the Reese's peanut butter cups. He was actually dairy manager for Mr. Hershey, and he built um, his own chocolate company. Built the Reese cups. Yeah, he was from around the Hershey area. And yes, they even got their own theme park here too, which we look to our west. I think that is our theme park, Hershey Park. They got some really cool roller coasters, including the Pandemonium, Sky Rush, Great Bear, Storm Runner, Fahrenheit, and one of the new roller coasters they built, Wildcat's Revenge. Some of the stuff that here built in the park. Okay, here's Hershey, Pennsylvania. They build a lot of chocolate. Oh yeah, and speaking about Hershey chocolates, Hershey's produced a lot of different brands of chocolate and candy based stuff, including those of Almond Joy, um, of course, the world famous Hershey chocolate. Everyone should know about Hershey's and like Hershey Kisses, Mr. Goodbar, Reese's peanut butter cups. Reese's is very, very famous. Snack bars, Heyday, and Kit Kats. They also make other non-chocolate based candies too, include most notably Jolly Ranchers and Twizzlers. Some of the other stuff they make out of the Hershey company. So, pretty cool stuff, and we'll head this direction east till we make our next stop in Reading. So, in terms of other stuff here too, um, just a brief history about Pennsylvania's economy and such. Pennsylvania's economy is actually pretty important. Pennsylvania's GDP, gross state product, is about $1 trillion. It is the sixth largest of all U.S. states behind California, Texas, New York, Florida, and Illinois. If it were to be an independent country, it would rank the 20th largest economy in the world, which is really impressive. It's also around the top 25 in per capita income at 68,000. It's also 23 of the nation's 500 largest companies, including 2 that rank in the top 100. Pretty impressive. And Pennsylvania was ranked first in many other economic sectors and niches, including barrels of beer, farmer markets, food processing, hardwood lumber, mushroom farms, natural gas production, potato chip manufacturing, and pretzel manufacturing are major parts of Pennsylvania's economy. Agriculture is also a major industry here in Pennsylvania. There's about 53,000 farms in the state, covering about 7.27 million acres of land, with an average size of 137 acres per farm. Pennsylvania ranks first in mushroom production, fourth in apple production, fourth in Christmas trees, fifth in dairy sales, fifth in grapes, and seventh in winemaking. Yes, Pennsylvania does make wine. Modern agriculture production includes corn, wheat, oats, barley, sorghum, soybeans, tobacco, sunflowers, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and many more. Agriculture plays a long history in the state of Pennsylvania. Dairy farming is actually the largest industry in the state, is dairy farming. And it ranks in the country fourth in both milk production and ice cream production, are also pretty important for. In terms of recreation, Pennsylvania does have a lot of recreation stuff. Thanks to the Philadelphia Zoo, which was first opened, the nation's first zoo. Other ones include the Erie Zoo and Pittsburgh Zoo ABG Aquarium. Pennsylvania is also home to some notable museums, including the Allentown Art Museum, the Carnegie Museums in Pittsburgh, the Philadelphia Museum of Art in Philadelphia, and several others. A really unique museum that Pennsylvania has come to fame is the Houdini Museum, and it's the only building in the world dedicated to the legendary magician himself. Anywhere in the world. Pretty crazy, isn't it? And there's also home to several amusement parks like Hershey Park, Doherty Park, Kennywood, a few others. And of course, hunting's a big part of the state. In fact, over 1 million licensed hunters in the state. And it's one of the finest places to hunt wild turkey, along with Texas and Alabama. You can also hunt white-tailed deer, black bear, rabbit, squirrel, and grouse. Making Pennsylvania a very popular place. Hey, good to see you, NorCali. Welcome on in, my dude. I hope you're doing well. Definitely check out his streams here on Twitch. Yes, we're doing 50 states in 50 streams. Yes, it's 50 total streams, so we're going to do it in 50. So, we're about to reach our second stop today in Reading, Pennsylvania. We stopped at State College earlier from Beaver County Airport. We're making our way over to Reading, Pennsylvania for our second stop. So we started back at Beaver County Airport, just northwest of Pittsburgh. We flew into the Steel City. We checked out Pittsburgh. Talked about some of its rich history and stuff. Then we made our way to State College, home of Penn State. Then we made our way to Harrisburg, and we're flying our way to Reading, Pennsylvania. And eventually we're going to make our way over to Philadelphia. So that's what we're doing here today. But it's going really good. The weather outside's going to be cold. Yes, it is very cold in Indiana. We're going to get 3 to 6 inches of snow today in my home. So it is going to be very, very cold. So we got plenty of notes. I got my notes here today. So we're about to make our way to Reading, Pennsylvania. But yeah, it's going good for me. Really enjoying flying Pennsylvania. So really enjoyed. So this is Reading, Pennsylvania, a really interesting city here in Pennsylvania. Population 95,000 people as of 2020. It's Pennsylvania's fourth most populous city after Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Allentown. Really, Reading is located in the southeast part of the state, and it's part of the greater Reading area. Its name actually refers to the now defunct Reading Company, which is actually the railroad transport. And fun fact about Reading Railroad, and you guys would never believe this, but if you guys ever played Monopoly, you notice one of the 4 railroad properties in the classic US version of Monopoly is Reading Railroad. So yes, we're going to fly to one of the places featured in Monopoly. It's also known as the Pretzel City due to all the pretzel bakeries in the city, all call it home. However, unfortunately, one negative thing is it has the highest share of citizens living in poverty among cities exceeding 65,000 people. It did fall over the next decade, but it's still one of the poorest cities in the small cities in the. Now, of course, the picture featured in it is actually one of the most unique landmarks in the city, its own pagoda. And it's a really interesting building that was produced in 1908. It was supposed to be a hotel restaurant centerpiece of a luxury resort. But when it was abandoned, the building was donated to the city and part of its own preserve. And apparently they even have a bell that was casted in Japan in 1739, formerly installed in the Buddhist temple. Now, during World War II, thanks to all the anti-Japanese sentiment, they were called to demolish the building, but thankfully they didn't tear it down. They actually restored it, rebuilt it, and installed the new neon lights and all that. And it's a really cool little building with a rich history. And it's even part of the National Register of Historic Places in 1962. But yeah, pretty cool stuff about this old building. It's a neat little history. And of course, we're flying into Reading Regional Airport. This is mainly a GA airport. Not for airliners, it's a GA airport. Used to have commercial services, but they don't do that anymore. But it actually opened as a civil airport in 1938, and it was used by the U.S. Army Air Force's 1st Air Force during a training air, where they trained tactical reconnaissance units, including those of the 26th Tactical Reconnaissance, which they use Curtiss O-52 Owls, O-53 Havocs, the Douglas O-46, and the Stinson O-49 Vigilant. They also had a Lazen squadron with the O-58 Grasshoppers and all that. Pretty cool stuff. They even have its own air museum here too, called the Mid-Atlantic Air Museum. They restore a lot of old warplanes. And currently, the Air Museum is also restoring a P-61 Black Widow that was actually recovered from New Guinea into flying condition. And apparently, this museum, the P-60 that we're trying to restore, I believe it's one of only 4 that is still found in this area. Yeah, it was a very rare P-61. You don't see many of those. Here's the website for this, by the way, if you guys want to check that out. Yeah, I will. It is a very rare plane. The P-61, very rare aircraft. They said in this restoration project since 1971, 1979, it was led by a World War II veteran. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2018, and then his son's currently working on restoring it. Let's see. I don't know the pagoda's model in the sim, but around this area is where the pagoda stands in reading. However, there is no pagoda, sadly. But it's still under restoration in all those years. And apparently, this P-61 is still one of only 4 left in existence. All but one of these is survival of static display. So they're going to restore that in modern display. They're still restoring it. So very rare plane. You don't see many of these old. Yeah. Oh, that's nice to hear. But yeah, it looks really good. I can't wait to see more of those Black Widows. The story of these planes are really cool too. They're built by Northrop. 2 Pratt & Whitney R2800 engines. And they were the first operational warplane to be a night fight at night. All metal, twin engines, absolute beast, and it served in all theaters, from Europe to the Pacific to China and the Mediterranean. It served basically. Introduced in 1944, and it retired in 1954. And scored the last kill in 1945. But it's a really cool plane with a rich history. Apparently, it's got 4 autocannons in the fuselage, 4 in the dorsal gun turret, so it's got tons of armament. Really cool plane. I'm glad that they got people to restore it. It's a gorgeous look. Like I said, I like military history. The reason I don't really have a lot of military planes in the sim is because, well, it's more civilian based. Exactly. Oh, nice. That's fantastic. DC Designs may be working on one. That it's great to bring this old bird back to life. Here we go, guys. Our second landing of the day here in Reading Regional. The guys, we're about to make. Now there are other really successful night fighters too. The de Havilland Venom jet fighter post World War II. You have the BF-110, which became a very successful night fighter with some modifications, and even the de Havilland Mosquito. Really cool. There you go. We're down here reading. I'm gonna park here for just a little. Yeah, we made our way over to reading. Cool. Oh, nice. You're at your Eastal practice. Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out soon. Yeah, Should be nice. But yeah, there was some really big night fire stuff, but it was really the Second World War where they really built a lot of the night. Thanks to all the technology with radar systems and stuff, night fighting, but mainly is radar. We'll be making our way forward to our last stop here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We got 91 nautical miles left to go. So we'll get ready to take off in just a minute. We'll get our way to Philadelphia. City of brotherly love. Get ready to taxi on our way out to Philadelphia. So guys, also in other news too, for flight simming, a legend of our community, Allison Johnson, amazing person, love her channel. Allison is going to be doing her new flight sim series, her first new around the world flight series in quite a while. But she's not going to do this with just a normal aircraft. She's going to be doing this with an Robinson R-44 helicopter. And yes, she's going to recreate the around the world flight by Jennifer Murray. Yes, a helicopter around the world trip. Going to be doing from Brooklands over to Choices Lenoble Airport. That's right, she's going to do a helicopter around the world trip. Is the R-44 created across oceanic? That's a good question. That's actually an excellent question. Um, I, I, I believe she had some extra modifications for her fuel around the world. She was actually born in Providence, Rhode Island, funnily enough, too. Um, that's a good question. She did fly this thing around the world. She actually had a book about all that to talk about her journey. I know Allison worked on the entire route, by the way. She actually had a ferry tank installed on her R44. That's what Allison said. Yeah, that's what she did. Still very impressive that she's going to be doing this recreate in a chopper. So our next stop is going to be Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is going to be our next stop. So Allentown is Pennsylvania's third largest city, after Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. It's the most populous city in the Lehigh Valley metropolitan area, located around the Lehigh River, founded in 1762, and it became a major industrial city during the 19th century. Also, Allentown is also notable for where the Liberty Bell was hidden for 9 months. Um, However, it was mostly important during the 19th century when it became one of the industrial cities of the country, especially with coal, the Lehigh Canal, sawmill stuff, but it was mainly iron ore, which helped build, as well as brickworks for building bricks. But then it transformed into a silk manufacturing place. But industry played a huge role in Allentown. So pretty important city. A lot of the Pennsylvania Dutch heritage was proud here, including scrapple, chow chow, Lebanon bologna, coleslaw, and apple butter are found here, um, in many of the local diners and farm markets. There's also the Soldier and Sailor Monument here as well, and more found here in Allenstown. That's where we're going to be flying to next. Just a bit more information about Pennsylvania. I'm going to go ahead and cover this here, over here. So in terms of transportation, Pennsylvania has 7 major airports, but the 2 busiest ones to keep in mind is Philadelphia International and Pittsburgh are the 2 busiest. But there's about 134 public use airports in the state. It also has one of the largest state highway network systems in the country, where Pennsylvania has over 39,000 miles. Of the 121,000 miles of roadway in the state, and it has one of the largest transit agencies in the United States, SEPTA, which operates in the Philadelphia metropolitan area, which also extends all the way to Delaware. Well, Delaware and potentially even New Jersey too. Pretty big stuff. And then food is a huge part of Pennsylvania's culture and stuff. Is food. Pennsylvania is a rich food-based state, thanks to its many unique traits. One of the big parts about food and is the fact it's a snack food capital of the world, as thanks to leading the manufacturers of pretzels and potato chips. Thanks to Sturgis Pretzel House introducing pretzels to American consumers, Frito-Lay potato chips with Frito-Lay. And of course, Hershey chocolate is a big part. One of the world's leading manufacturers of chocolate, Hershey. But also other companies too make a lot of candies. Then you have also the traditional Pennsylvania Dutch foods: chicken pot pie, ham pot pie, hits unkept dried apples, ham and dumplings, raised donuts, scrapple, and more. And of course, Philadelphia's got its own food stuff too: the cheesesteak, hoagies, soft pretzels, Italian water ice, Irish potato candy, tasty cake, and strombolis. So lots of food stuff. Pennsylvania is a food lover's paradise for among you. Got a lot of traditional specialties. And of course, sports are a big deal here in the state. I mean, for both professional and collegiate stuff, Pennsylvania is a massive sports state. In Philadelphia, got the Phillies, Eagles, 76ers, and Flyers. While Pittsburgh's got the Pirates, Penguins, and Steelers. Philadelphia is considered by some to be the nation's best sports city, as Philadelphia sports fans are very passionate. Love their sports in Philadelphia. There's also a lot of minor league sports teams too, for baseball and hockey. Pennsylvania is also where the Little League World Series is hosted, in South Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And of course, it's also motorsports, where the Andretti dynasty of race drivers hailed from the Lehigh Valley. And college sports too. So yeah, Pennsylvania, a lot of tradition, a lot of stuff going for it. And finally, here are some fun facts about Pennsylvania. The Rockville Bridge in Harrisburg is the largest stone arch bridge in the world. Pitt Square is the mushroom capital of the world, due to Pennsylvania growing the most mushrooms. Pittsburgh has over 300 sets of city-maintained steps, and that they were stacked. They would reach 26,000 feet high, which measures a lot higher than most of the Himalayan mountains. The Far weightlifter, Bob Hoffman, born of York, Pennsylvania, is the Far weightlifting. And he preached the physical gospel of physical fitness as an Olympic coach, businessman, and philanthropist. There is a Drake Well Museum in Titusville, Pennsylvania, when Drake drilled the world's first oil well, launched the petroleum industry, which is still here today. And finally, of course, you have the famous weather forecasting groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil. It's the weather capital of the world because their most famous resident is the groundhog. Yes, that's where he actually originated from, Pennsylvania. So, get briefly back out and fly in the air. So we are about to reach Allentown, Pennsylvania. Here's Allentown in the Lehigh Valley. Here's Allentown. Oh, really cool stuff. Pennsylvania, neat state. Here it is, Allentown, Pennsylvania. Here's Allentown. Here's Allentown, Pennsylvania. We're gonna head south. 191 degrees. Here's Allentown. And finally, for the last slide about Pennsylvania, for about just the general information, here's some notable people from Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is with the state with that much of a history. You know there's going to be some very notable figures in the state, including composer Samuel Barber. How about the famous frontiersman himself, Daniel Boone? He was from Reading, Pennsylvania. U.S. President James Buchanan from Mercersburg. Alexander Calder, famous sculptor from Philadelphia. Rachel Carson around Springdale, around Pittsburgh. George Catlin, Indian expert and poet from Wilkes Barre. Yeah, Henry Steele Comancher, historian from Pittsburgh. the legendary baseball player Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, born in Winecoat. Jim Kelly, famous football player for the Buffalo Bills, plays it from East Brady. And of course, the legendary actor James Stewart, from Indiana, Pennsylvania. Yes, that is a real place. Is indeed a real place. I'm not kidding. Indiana, Pennsylvania, a real place. So our next waypoint is going to be Valley Forge National Historic Park. And I picked this one because I wanted to do something related to the American Revolution. So all guys know how important of a state Pennsylvania really was. So speaking of which, I do have my Discord up if you guys want to check that out. We will be after the stream today, after I post the pictures from the stream, I'll post the information for the next state, New Jersey, New Jersey. That'll be our next state on Sunday. We'll fly from Cape May over to Essex Airport. We'll be flying to Kilo Foxtrot Whiskey November. Bit of a shorter stream for that one, but I wanted to take something a little different. So guys, if you're enjoying this stream and you're liking what you guys see, smash that follow button and support the channel. We stream here 3 days a week, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays here on Twitch. Making our way officially over to the 50 states and 50 streams twice a week. We'll be doing plenty of notes and stuff. So the next place we'll be visiting is Valley Forge National Historic Park. Will be our next stop, our next waypoint. So Valley Forge National Historic Park was founded during the American Revolution. It was the site of the third winter encampment by the Continental Army during the American Revolution War from December 1777 to June 1778. The National Park Service preserves the site and interprets the history of the Valley Forge encampment. It contains several historic buildings, recreated encampment structures, memorials, museums, and facilities. The park encompasses 3,500 acres of land and is visited by nearly 2 million people a year. Visitors can receive historic structures, reconstructed structures, and monuments from the Continental soldiers. Visitor facilities even include a visitor center and museum original artifacts from the campsite. There's ranger programs, tours, and activities are available seasonally, and it provides nearly 30 miles of hiking and biking trails. Wildlife watching, fishing, and boating are also popular in the too. And the park has been around since the 1970s, but it became a state park in 1893 actually, and was the first state park in Pennsylvania. So some of the places here in the park include the Visitor Center, including the Visitor Center and the Museum of Artifacts from the American Revolution. Of course, they also have the restored colonial home used by George Washington as its headquarters. And you can take guide tours in his headquarters. Pretty cool. You also have the Washington Memorial Chapel. It's actually a functioning church. Memorial markers and more. There's even a train station here too. But it's a really cool little park. We'll be flying over a little bit of it on our way over to Philadelphia. But I thought this would be a good place for a waypoint, and so we can fly over the National Store and fly over Valley Forge. Then after that, we'll talk a bit about the city of brotherly love itself, Philadelphia. City of many firsts in the city. I'm going to slow things down a little bit. We're going to descend down to 1,500 feet. We're getting near Philadelphia. We're going to go descend down to 1,500. This is Valley Forge National Historic Park, which is fly over. Here's, guys, the National Historic Park. So we can see there's the chapel. Yeah, you can see all the historic buildings in this area. And here's the National Memorial Arch right here. Here's the Memorial Arch. And more. There's the National Historic Park. But of course, the place we're going to visit next is, of course, Philadelphia. Welcome to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The largest city in Pennsylvania and one of the largest cities in the country, and the sixth most populous city in the country with 1.6 million people. This city has an extensive role in U.S. history. It was founded in 1682 by William Penn and served as the capital of the Pennsylvania colony during the colonial era, and it played an historic and vital role of the American Revolution and the Revolutionary War. Central meeting place for the nation's founding fathers in 1774. They preserved the Liberty Bell. Hosted the Second Continental Congress, which did the Declaration of Independence. It was once the capital of the United States too. From 1775 to 1800, when D.C. was built. Still, it is still a massively influential city in business, industry, culture, sports, and music. In fact, it is a very popular tourist destination as it attracts over 42 million domestic tourists. It's one of the most visited cities in the country. It's also important for music, thanks with R&B, soul, and rock music. And of course, this city is a home to many firsts, including the nation's first library in 1731, hospital in 1751, the medical school in 1765, the First Nations capital in 1774, university, central bank, stock exchange, zoo, and business school. The city contains 67 national historic landmarks, including Independence Hall, which we will be flying over a bit today. And it's home to an extensive number of prominent and influential Americans. And where do I even begin with how many Americans are in Philadelphia? Where do I even begin? Some of these historical figures include Francis Biddle, U.S. Solicitor General and Attorney General. Of course, you have Andrew Allen, delegated to the Continental Congress. But of course, Benjamin Franklin, one of America's founding fathers, and a polymath. Really knowledgeable in different subjects. You guys all know about Benjamin Franklin. I mean, and you'd be surprised about Benjamin Franklin too. He's actually made many inventions during his time, including the lightning, the Franklin stove. How about one that we use all the time? Bifocal glasses and the urinary catheter are all invented by Benjamin Franklin, which is pretty funny. He's made plenty of inventions, and he still has a very massive legacy, even in American history. But you also have Betsy Ross, who sewed the first American flag. Betsy Ross herself. You also have Peggy Shippen, the highest paid spy in the American Revolution, and the second wife of Benedict Arnold. And many, many more. Tons of historical people as well. Sports players, athletes. super cool. And one of those historic places we'll be visiting is Independence National Historic Park. This is where they got several sites with the American Revolution and the nation's founding history. It includes Philadelphia's most visited historic sites, and the centerpiece of this park is none other than Independence Hall, where the Declaration of Independence and U.S. Constitution were debated and adopted by American founding fathers in the late century. There's also the famous Liberty Bell, which is on display at the Liberty Bell Center. You also have the first bank of the U.S. and the second bank of the U.S. And of course, you also have the City Tavern, which is a replica of Delegates, which many presidents and stuff have visited too. And over 3.5 million visitors visited this park in 2011. Of course, Independence, and fun enough, also Independence Hall is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and one of the first UNESCO World Heritage Sites too, in 1979. It's definitely a pretty cool. So, we're about to reach Philadelphia, guys. And our last stop is Northeastern Philadelphia Airport. It's a general aviation airport. It's a GA reliever for Philadelphia International, and it's actually Pennsylvania's sixth busiest airport. However, this airport is most well known for a tragic event in 1991 when a Bell 412 helicopter crashed midair with a Piper Aerostar, which was flying from Williamsport to Northeast Philadelphia. That Piper ended up carrying U.S. Senator John Hines III, and it collided over Marion High School. All aboard both aircraft and 2 children were killed. And that was a very tragic accident, especially considering the implications for both of these. So, so here's Philadelphia, everyone. So here it is. We're going to fly over the sporting venues of the city of Philadelphia, starting with the sports venue. Be flying through. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed this flight with all of you guys. And later today, I'll be posting you guys the information for New Jersey too. Give you some information and facts about the state of New Jersey. Here. So here is Lincoln Financial Field, Wells Fargo Center, and Citizens Bank Park, home to Philadelphia's major sports teams, being the Eagles, 76ers, and Phillies, respectively. So, pretty cool stuff. Let's go ahead and turn off our autopilot. I'm going to turn on the yaw damper. Our way over Philadelphia. City of brotherly love. But yeah, Philadelphia, great sports town. They love their sports here in Philly. There's the battleship New Jersey to our right. There's the battleship. New Jersey was one of the Isle-class battleships. Sorry about using that to pause. I wanted to take the picture of Independence Hall. Uh, and we got one more waypoint, and that is the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Plenty of time with the drum cam and stuff, just to search around this place. How cool is that, guys? Philadelphia. Here it is, guys. Where Rocky took his steps. All right, that's it, everyone. All our waypoints. Now we just need to fly to Northeast Philadelphia Airport. Yeah, what a cool city, guys. That is Philadelphia, guys. I hope you liked what you saw here. Really cool city, rich history. I would love to visit Philadelphia to check out the historical stuff around this area. We'll land here at runway 06, and we'll wrap up the stream. We'll land at runway 33, and we can wrap up the stream from here. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun. So here we go, guys. Northeast Philadelphia Airport. And guess what? We'll be visiting New Jersey next week, so we'll be flying around New Jersey. We'll be back in this area again, ironically. So ironically, the first three states of the Union are also three pretty close to Philadelphia, too. Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. It's great that we're doing this new sim, so like I said, I'm happy with 50 states and how it's going. So let's go ahead and make our way home. Bit of a harder landing. That one's been a little hard. Here, and we'll just turn KBVI map. And guys, that wraps up our stream here today. Guys, that officially wraps everything up today. I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope I can stay around for the weather. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. We got to fly across Pittsburgh, State College, Harrisburg, Reading, Allentown, and Philadelphia. Great stuff today. Really enjoyed today's stream, and it's great to do this stream again. We'll be back Sunday for our trip to New Jersey. I'll give you guys notes and information about New Jersey when we get to there on Saturday. So take care, everyone, and have a great rest of your Friday. Goodbye, everyone. See you all soon.